and welcome to the Embroidered Elephant Podcast 12. My name is Kim and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be walking you through some of the crochet goodness that I've been up to this month, so throughout the end of January and February as well. I will be going over my works in progress, my finished projects, any new things I got, and any business updates as well. So when I did podcast 11 last month in January, I'd announced that I was just about to go to France. I went to France and it was very nice. It rained a couple of days, but really the weather was quite nice. And in terms of shopping, there were a few yarn shops. I feel as though I was quite reserved. My weakness was when we went to a thrift store / charity shop, kind of shop in France, where there was so much stuff secondhand and really quite reasonably priced. So although I usually start on my finished projects, I think it makes more sense to start with new things for now. So what did I get? So I only technically bought this stuff in January. So although it's new, it's not new for February, if that makes sense. So as I said, in France there was a charity shop where I got some yarn from. So they had a whole section just full of crafts. So there was loads, basically a wall of yarn, different yarn cones. There was a big sort of bag full of single skeins, double skeins, scrap ends. I think it was about €5. And had I lived in France, that would have been a real difficult part for me. But luckily I didn't have the space in my storage to take it back, so I couldn't buy it. So that's my excuse. So I am just trying to find the prices of the yarn I got, because I find it really interesting. So the first one I got was some DMC cotton. So these can be used for embroidery, but they can also be used to do very delicate crochet, such as doilies or little flowers, etc. Now these came in a pack together, the 4 of them. And they also came with some very small hooks. So in the pack together was 2 size 1 hooks. So just metal, they're nothing special. But I thought that it would be really cool to start doing stuff that's outside of my comfort zone. So I've never worked with lace weight yarn. So I thought that it would be a nice sort of step into it. And if I don't particularly like it, DMC cotton, anyone can use that really. So I can sort of let it go and not feel too bad about it. So these together were, I believe they were €1. So really quite cheap. I haven't put the prices on them. Oh, that's sad. So this was my first one. The next one was a pack of 5 Berger du Nord, which I've been told means Shepherd of the North. So these are quite interesting. It's linen and cotton, and these were in a these were all together. They have been a little bit squashed. They're quite a natural colour, white and sort of a browny natural colour, tanned maybe. So pack of 4 there were. These were around €4 or €5 together, maybe €3. I can't remember exactly. I thought I'd written down the price, but clearly I haven't. So these were a pack of 4, and I don't particularly know what I'm going to do with them. I would love to make a shirt. This looks really interesting to work with because it's not the same thickness throughout. So you can see where the white bits are, that's thicker than sort of where the brown bits are. So I'd love to make sort of a summer shirt out of it. Because it's linen and cotton, it should be quite comfortable, although it really doesn't look comfortable. I'm sure that it is, hopefully. So I will be looking for a pattern for them at some point. Next was this. So these are Fil Rio, 53% cotton, and the rest is acrylic, 47%, 50 grams each. So this reminds me of old TV static. So you know the black and the whites where the noise is just, I'm not going to try and replicate it, but these are really cute and I'd love to find something to do with these. So originally they were €4.30 each. I bought 2 for about €2, I think. Again, clearly I haven't written it down, so I don't know exactly, but it was around €2. And the last thing I bought from the charity shop is this. So it's a cone of yarn. It doesn't have any details in the inside. If you've ever bought a cone of yarn before, usually they have a sticker on the inside saying the name of the yarn or the colourway, and what sort of makeup it is. So this one hasn't got that, which is fine. I believe it is cotton, and if you can see that, it's got mostly dark blue but also a little bit of black in the composition. And this is likely to go towards a jumper that I am making. So a few years ago I made a jumper by Handmade by Joe, or designed by Handmade by Joe. The jumper is called A Fair Bit of Fuzz because he puts mohair in his. I have been collecting a few of these yarn cones. This is what I originally made the jumper with when I tested it, and it is so comfy. The reason I don't wear it more is because I need to weave in my ends, and I've just been putting it off and off and off, and every time I wear it, because the ends are right next to my wrist, they dangle down and they get wet if I'm doing the washing up or dirty. So I need to just do that, spend even 2 minutes, 3 minutes doing it. So that's what it's going to go towards. I've already got quite a lot of yarn for that. I've got purples and blues, so that'll be nice when I get around to it. Now, in a shop in France, I bought these. I bought 2 of these Flambe 3. Put that on it. So these are made in Italy. I can't remember how much they were each. I think they were definitely half price. I think they were under €5 for both. And this one is quite nice as well. It's wavy yarn. So again, some bits are thicker than others, which I find makes crocheting more fun. So just that. Again, this is 100% cotton. It's 100 grams. It's 100 grams. So they will probably be going towards dishcloths or something similar. So nothing amazingly fun, but very nice as well. And lastly, I bought these in the January sales, and I avoided buying this for so long. I had my eye on it for ages, and the sale was really good. I don't know if it was a half price, 60% off, something like that. And I was watching it. My willpower was great. And then I made the mistake of keep logging on every day and keep getting reminders about how cheap it was. So I bought the Flu Fibre. This is Aran Weight. I've got 3 of these. It is in the colourway Oakberry. And it is 100% merino. So I really liked this colour online, and it really reminded me of Taylor Swift. I'm not quite sure why, but it did. It's got these pink purpley spots in it. So when I use them, the only thing I need to be aware of is to make sure that I change the skeins as I'm crocheting, just so that it doesn't colour pool. As you can see, as an example, this one on the end, it has a lot of bright pinks, whereas the other 2 don't. That is because they're from separate dye lots, and it means if I were to do this one all together rather than alternating the skeins, I might have sort of a stripe that's more pink than the other 2. So it would look very stripy, it would look quite obvious. These are going to go towards a shirt, something I can wear. And with those ones, it will likely go towards the same or a similar pattern to the Portugal shirt that I did. So it is a pattern designer on Etsy. It will either be the Calm crop top or the Heidi crop top, depending on how I feel at the time. So that's all my new stuff. So I have added quite a bit of yarn. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16 different bits of yarn. 16 new things, there we go, 16 new things. So that is it for new things. I will now go on to finished projects. The first finished project is the tie knot headbands by Lottie and Albert. So this is what they are meant to look like. So they've got a knot at the top, and how they're actually made is you crochet around the band, or you crochet 4 around the band, then you crochet a long line that's longer than the headband itself, tie it in the middle and then sew it on. Hopefully that makes sense. I got to the first step of crocheting around the headband, and I think I might leave it like this. So I might leave it like this because I've only got a little bit of yarn left, and I'm not sure how much I need to crochet up the top part. So rather than spend a lot of time on getting the length of yarn necessary to make the tie knot, it might be easier to just leave that for a different project. I don't know, I'll see. But this is how it looks at the moment. So nothing super fancy, but depending on the way that I style it, it will look quite nice. So I made this sort of specifically for a dress that I have. It's a Cath Kidston dress that has Matilda fabric on it. And Matilda, during the film, she nearly always has a ribbon wrapped around her hair, and it is red. So I thought that this would be really cute as an accessory to wear with that dress. So that's finished. I am going to weigh how much I've got left. I'll pop it at the bottom of the screen and probably give it a try to see whether I can sew it. It's just a little bit of yarn, so I'll try. And the next finished project is this scarf. Now, I'm not going to put it on just because I'm wearing a microphone, but this is the Portsmouth scarf by Lion Brand. So when I last spoke to you in January, I had finished the turquoise ends of the scarf, and while I was away in France, I finished this bit, the grey bit. So these were the bits I did before, and they're finished. and they aren't as long, they're not the same length. And I did explain that on the last podcast, but just in case you didn't see it, they aren't the same length because I'm working a lot with scrap yarn. So the turquoise and the grey yarn were both scrap yarn. I've finished one ball of the grey yarn for this scarf, and I finished the turquoise yarn that I had. So all in all, this scarf used over 200 grams of scrap yarn, so not doing too bad. When I put it on, I suppose it's not as long as I'd usually wear my scarf. It comes to about, that's a great demonstration, you can really see. It comes to about my waist, but usually I wrap my scarf around once and have the two hanging. Let me demonstrate. Sorry for the noise. I guess, so that's what it looks like. I guess if I block it, it will look a bit better. And it will look more defined as well. Obviously I finished this while I was away, so I couldn't block it. But that's definitely something that I will do, because I would like it to be a bit longer and the stitches to be more defined. So that's what I'll do. That's a problem solved. I will put a counter at the end of this video of how much yarn I have used. And it will be sort of a running counter between the months. So rather than saying this month I have used X amount, I will just have a running counter. So those are my two finished projects. So I've got the Lottie & Albert headband, and I have got the Lion brand Portsmouth scarf finished. Also, for my finished projects, I forgot to mention, I did actually finish the paper chain. So I used a lot of scrap yarn, and I will insert a video here. So all in all, I got through 10 grams of beige yarn, 2 grams of pink, 2 grams of cream, and 69 grams of white, and 17 grams of white, 69 grams of multicolours. So that is looking pretty good. So I finished 3 projects. Next is for my works in progress. So at the beginning of this year, I did have a lot of projects in my whip pile. So when I say my whip pile, I mean the way that I organise it. I organise it on a system. I have done some videos on Notion before. It's very similar to Ravelry. So I took a picture of all of my yarn and all of my works in progress. One of them I had was a beige cardigan. So I started drafting this pattern myself, or I started the pattern myself, and I started with the sleeve, and I added stitches, but I added way too many, so the sleeve was absolutely massive, to the point where, although I'm happy to wear oversized things, I don't think that I'd reach for it. So reluctantly I pulled back all of the crocheting that I had done, and I have restarted, but this time with a pattern. So the pattern I am using is called the Easy Pocket Crochet Cardigan, and it is by For the Frills. So it will eventually hopefully look a bit like this. So you can see it's quite simple. Hers is quite long. She has got a pocket on it, and it's got ribbing sort of around the bottom, and you can add it to the front as well. When I first started making this cardigan, I was trying to replicate a grey cardigan that I have that I absolutely love to bits. I wear it all the time. That comes down to sort of just below my bum, and it's really, really comfy for going out, wearing with dresses, wearing around the house, etc. For this one, my style has changed quite a bit. So I wanted a cardigan that reaches sort of my waist height. I have not crocheted everything, I've shortened the pattern, and this is what I've got so far. So you crochet it all in one, so you have sort of the back panel, then you crochet the front, then you crochet the other side, and then you add the arms. So I haven't got to the arms yet. Obviously I've only done one front panel, but what I'm going to try and do is literally crochet into the side of the cardigan, so that I don't have to sew in the sleeves, so they maybe fit a little bit better. So excuse all of the stitch markers. They are there to help me to see how many I've done. So on this one I've stopped at 45. The pattern asks for 68, I think. So 45, that's what I've done. And then the green ones, every now and then, that's where I finished one skein of yarn, just to try and work out if I've got enough. So this is what it looks like at the moment. Again, a great demonstration. So this is what it looks like at the moment. It's really not anything fancy. It's just going to be a beige cardigan. I am going to add a pocket on the front panel, and I am going to add ribbon around the whole thing. So around the neckline, around the front, around the bottom, around the sleeves. And the reason I am going to do that is because I prefer the look of it. I know that on the pattern she says that you don't have to add it around this sort of the neckline and the front of the cardigan. But as I said, it is personal choice. I really prefer it, so I'm going to add it. At the moment it looks really boxy. Who knows if it'll be a little bit more shaped when I wear it. I mean, hopefully. Yeah, so it'll be about sort of, yeah, belly button height, which will be fine. It'll be nice to wear with dresses so that I can show off the dress a bit more, but still be warm. And again, after blocking, it will be a little bit longer. So yeah, that is my work in progress. It is using half double crochet, so it's not difficult at all, and it works up really quickly because I'm using Aran weight yarn. And so far I've gone through 3 skeins of yarn, and I am on to my 4th. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. It's not difficult. It's maybe the most difficult part, if I'm being completely honest, is finding something that will keep my attention on YouTube or online long enough for me to do to crocheting. So I watch quite a lot of YouTube, so at the moment there's a lot of things that I have watched and therefore wouldn't watch again. I know that there's always stuff coming out, but it's just the searching for me takes a long time. So if anyone has any recommendations, pop them below. At the moment I am watching My Mad Fat Diary, which if anyone hasn't watched it, I would really recommend it. I will say it does touch on some touchy subjects, especially around mental health and weight. So if that's not for you, don't worry. But it is a really good series. I've already watched it before, but I love it so much that I'm watching it again. The other thing that I have just found is I have been thinking for a while, I love reading and I love crochet, but I can't do both at the same time because both require my hands. So when I went out at the weekend, I saw that there was a cookery book holder. There's probably a better name for it, book holder. And it was quite cheap, so I splashed out. I say I splashed out. I took the jump and I bought it. And I have been able to read pages upon pages so far and crochet at the same time. And although I'm probably super late to the party, it's so cool. it's so nice, and because it's a pattern that I don't especially have to think much about, it's really nice to be able to crochet and read as well, so I feel like I'm being productive on both counts. So I'm reading my Mad Fat Diary as well, the first book, and then after that is the second book. So they are quite different actually. So the book is set in 1989 and the series is set in 96. So there's quite a lot of differences. There's not a lot of overlap between the series and the book, but I'm really enjoying watching it so far. And as I said, I've watched it before. It's just maybe a little bit difficult to watch all at the same time, especially if you've had any issues with weight or mental health. It can be a bit heavy, no pun intended, genuinely. It can sort of sit with you a little bit. So yeah, highly recommend if that sounds like something you'd be interested in. I have been getting through some audiobooks as well. So that's been quite fun to listen to audiobooks. Still feel very productive with sort of listening to an audiobook, getting rid of it. By like getting rid, I mean selling it, giving it to a charity shop, putting it in a free bookshop and then moving on to the next one. I really enjoy that because I've got quite a lot of stuff at the moment. I'm focusing on decluttering, but I don't want to declutter without using it, if that makes sense. Right, after that massive rant about my knot whips, so I've got the beige cardigan on the go. So my other whip, and when I say I've just started it, I literally mean I've just started it, is this tulip. So it's not much of a tulip at the moment. You follow the pattern. I will put the name of it below. To make a square, you sew the sides up and then you join it in such a way that it looks like a tulip, and then the bottom just comes together. So you've got to use your imagination quite well. So that's the start of one, and this is using all of the wool that I bought a little while ago. So lots of random colours of blues and purples and sort of turquoises. And my vision for these is to make a bunch of tulips and just have them evergreen. And they look really simple to make as well. I have been saving all of my scrap fabric from bag making, and I'm going to stuff them with that. So hopefully they should not cost too much or be too much issue to get them stuffed and made. But that's one I've got so far. And lastly, I call it a whip, but it's more of a planned project, if I can find it. So the last category is planned projects. So as well as continuing with my beige cardi, that's going to be my main focus. I am also hoping to get some crocheted wrist warmers finished. So a little while ago I bought some granny square pieces. So someone else had made these but they didn't want them. So I bought them and I am planning on making some wrist warmers out of them. So my plan is for the motif to be on the back of the hand because it is flower and it's really, really cute. And then to crochet around the sides so that it's, as I said, a wrist warmer. So I've got a pair of purple or lilac. I've got I've got a pair of white, and these ones are flat, they don't stick out, which is nice. And I've got two pairs of this sort of cream colour, I suppose. Now the only issue with these is because I bought them, I don't have the yarn to be an exact match. So that will be quite interesting. So I'm having to sort of make do Haha. Okay, so I've got 3 pairs of the white mittens. 3 pairs of white, 1 of lilac, and 2 pairs of this creamy colour. So I'm having to sort of patch together different bits of yarn. So this yarn here does match the white one because I unpicked another project that I bought as well. So maybe I'll have enough to make a couple of pairs with that. I also have this white mystery yarn, which I believe is cotton, so I don't know how well that will go. This is not cotton, I don't know what this is. Mystery. These I think are cotton, so I don't know how well that would go with acrylic for the mittens. And then I've got some sort of different ones. So I've got a dark, sort of a mid purple, I've got this dark grey, and I've got this black yarn. So I'm going to take them, I think, with me this weekend. We are staying with family, and see if I can get a couple of pairs finished. So yeah, that'll be interesting. So that's my planned project. I'm hoping to have that done by next month. The tulips is another ongoing project. The beige cardigan, I'm hoping to at least finish the front and one sleeve. We'll say that. So at least both the front panels are done and one sleeve, and I will be very happy. I have done all of the back panel and one front panel in a month or so, just less than a month, so we should be okay to get there by episode 13, but we shall see. So now for stash updates. So in February I used 816 grams. So this also includes 334 grams that I have set aside to give away. So it is out of my stash, but I haven't crocheted with it. So 816 grams were used in February and the end of January, since last podcast. And adding that to the total of what I've used so far in 2024, that is 983 grams, which is nearly a kilogram, which is great. Yes, so in the last podcast I did include a few projects that were what I finished in December. I haven't included those in the totals, obviously, because this is 2024 total. So I want to know what I've got out of my stash, either by crocheting it or donating it. And this will help me work towards getting much less in my stash. So that's what I've used so far. And just in terms of a whip update, currently I have six projects in my whip queue, I suppose. So I have finished a couple, I've got rid of a few, and yeah, I'm happy. And then finally for business updates. So for business updates, the sale in my shop is now finished, and I am looking forward to March, Easter. If you've seen one of my recent videos, I have also sewn about 50 project bags. They are ready, I just need to photograph them and put them online. So they should be up in the next few weeks, hopefully. I will emphasise how long it takes to take pictures of 50 bags, write descriptions for all of them, add keywords and everything like that. So any patience you have is much appreciated. But if you want to check out my shop, the link is below. So that is it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to keep in touch, there will be links below to either email or send me messages, reach me on Instagram. or to see my shop as well. So thank you very much for watching, and until next time, all the best. Bye.